All right. Hello, people. Welcome back to another show. Let's get this thing started. We good? We going? All right. I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another show. This is GVS, where I cover all things sports. Today's date, May 21st, 2025. We had two more game ones tonight. This one, now we go to the West in the NHL, but we go to the East in the NBA. We have two. Oh, shit. What's going on? Oh, remind me later, dude. I thought usually what that noise indicates is that my stream has crapped the bed, and so I got me nervous there for a second. I thought my stream just died. Anyways, but we had the Pacers that had a win tonight, and then the Stars absolutely blew out the Oilers. But that game was a little closer than we anticipated. We also have the tush push. We will be talking about the tush push. And then we'll just go over some other NFL news. We'll talk a little bit about Jim Irsay because it was reported that he passed away today as well. And so, all things considered, I'm glad you're here. So let's get into the show. If you're enjoying what you're watching, be sure to hit that like button. Also, let me know in the comments section if you have any sports takes that I could cover towards the end of the show. Like if you got a hot take, like, hey, I think even though Knicks lost game one, I think, New York's going to win the next four. If you got any hot takes like that, let me know, and we'll get into it. Okay, let's roll into, let's do a little bit of MLB. We had the Yankees, they had a walk-off home run against the Rangers. Do they have anything else? Giants to place Verlander, Peck on 15-day injury. Okay, so Verlander's going to be out. Kirby to debut on Thursday. Okay, so not too much big in the MLB. Let's go to the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton, bouncing bucket stuns MSG. Madison Square Garden had to deal with overtime today, and I think everybody's going to talk about Halliburton's clutch 2. Did it look like a 3? Yes, but if his from Ace Soto overrated, absolutely, brother. I think what the Mets are paying Juan Soto right now, too much, all that money. I think Mets better be winning the World Series in the next 2-3 years, or he's definitely overpaid. Now, again, Soto can't burden and carry the whole weight of the organization, but if you're getting paid that much money, dude, you better be showing up in the postseason. That's all I'm saying. But yes, I do think he's a little overrated considering his price tag and where he's at right now with how good the Mets are. Like, Mets should be making the playoffs. Mets should be going on a little bit of a run. I mean, they went to the conference finals, and they lost to the Dodgers. So they should be getting to the same spot. But because they bring on Soto, that should be that key piece that pushes them just that much farther and get into the World Series. But yeah, right now I'd say overrated, just a little bit, but like properly overrated. Not like, oh my gosh, shut up, let's never talk about him again, he's overrated. Kind of overrated, but properly overrated where they pay him a lot of money. Let's just see if he can live up to it. All right, but OG. We've talked about OG Obanobi before, and how he's been the reason why the Knicks have been successful or unsuccessful in some of these playoff games. And today, I will admit, I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the highlights, and I watched the whole overtime because I heard that Tyrese Halliburton had tied it to send it into OT. So I was like, okay, probably just a routine last-second shot. Pretty much. Buzzer shot, send this thing into OT. He bricked one of those free throws. So if he made his free throws, New York escapes game one because they would have called the foot on the line. Halliburton, I will give credit to where credit's due. Like Halliburton's foot was on the line. You can't argue that and be like, oh, come on, ref, or anything like that. His foot was on the line. The size 15 shoe, maybe if his feet were a little bit smaller, it would have been like a KD situation. So his two tied the game up. So then we went into overtime, and in overtime, that's when kind of like it was a back and forth. I'm not going to say that the Pacers just took over. Like, this was a 3-point game, and like it was just back and forth for all of OT. Jalen Brunson did have the final shot, airballed the shit out of it, and then good effort by Hart and Bridges to try to get the rebound, kicks it back out to Cat, and then Cat just went off the front iron. Like, it was just bad shooting there in transition towards the very end of the game. And I think it just has a lot more to say than, like, okay, Brunson misses his shot, Cat misses his shot. This game was lost after the Pacers had completed their comeback, and they went on like a 17-4. Went on a huge run. Let me see if the game flow. Let's see if the game flow will tell me what exactly. Okay, let's go to game recap. Because it was in the fourth quarter. Teams leading by at least 14 points. Yeah. Look at this fun stat. Teams leading by at least 14 points in the final 2:45 of the fourth quarter had been 994-0. Yep. They just blew a lead. Like, you live by the blown lead, you die by the blown lead. It's kind of a taste of their own medicine, because this is how the Knicks had beat the Celtics. A lot of people would go, oh, well, Tatum got injured. Yeah, but Tatum was also healthy in game 1 and 2 when they both blew a 20-plus point lead. So, look at this, going full circle moment where Knicks blow a lead. So, yeah, Pacers stormed back. Is there any number? I could have sworn it was like 17-4, 17-6, one of those kind of runs. But if you can see in the box score, no. Is it the game cast? No, yes, it's the game cast. In the third quarter and in the fourth quarter, Pacers outscored the Knicks 25-21, and then in the fourth quarter, 38-35, and then an OT 13-10. So, like, this game was close. I do think the Knicks can bounce back. Again, if OG sinks that free throw, maybe if Brunson can sink another three, New York wins the series. But I wouldn't put this on Brunson. And although they're the reason, dude, Brunson had 43 points tonight. You can't put the blame on him. It was a tough contested 3-pointer. Why the hell is Cat throwing the ball up? Who knows? I have joked before, and I'll joke in my series prediction. Halliburton, I can't guarantee Halliburton's going to have himself a day and a game, but Brunson's going to have a game. Is Cat going to have a game? Is Hart going to have a game? Is OG going to have a game? Or will those be the weak links? And clearly, I wouldn't say they were a weak link tonight. I think just today was Road Warrior playoff mode for the Pacers, because look at what they went into Cleveland, snuck a couple out. Now they're going into Madison Square Garden. They're sneaking a couple out. Like, these Pacers are kind of intimidating, but I wouldn't overreact too much after this first game, because I think the Knicks can bounce back. Definitely make this thing 1-1 before they go back to Indiana. Clutch bucket. I will give them credit on that. It was a clutch bucket. Halliburton had 31 points. Let's see who led rebounds. Obi with 10, Josh Hart with 13. Who led assists? Yep, Tyrese with 11. So Halliburton had a double-double. Hart had 7. Turnovers, New York had 15. New York also out-rebounded. It's just a crazy game, but this doesn't determine the whole series. Like, there's still a lot more basketball to play. Let's transition now. Let's move to the NHL. All right, so I missed this one. But I think when I tuned in, when I was sitting in my car, I think the Oilers were up 3-2 in the second or something. All I know is that Dallas stormed back in this game. They won 3-6. Let's look at the game cast here. Oh my gosh, an absolute explosion in the third period. Heiskanen, Granlund, Duchesne, Sagan, and Lindell. So this thing was 3-2 Edmonton going into the third. Oh, wait. It was 3-1. Bouchard Bouchard had okay. So when I tuned in and watched in the second period, I watched just a little bit. It must have been after Bouchard's goal because it was 3-1. I was like, okay, Oilers probably win this game. Hell no, dude. Look at that. Just an absolute crazy third period where, Miro and everybody getting, it went from 3-1 to 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3. Like that. Now, I will say the sixth goal was an empty netter. That was probably when the Oilers were trying, because they scored 16 minutes and 45 seconds into the period. Definitely an offensive possession. Maybe, I'm going to guess, it'd be a stretch, but power play maybe, where there's a turnover and Dallas just throws one at net and it goes in. Because, I mean, if you're pulling your goalie with 3.5 minutes to go in the game, it's because you're trying to get something going. Draisaitl started out the scoring. Seguin evened it up 1-1, and then Edmonton just took over in the second period with Nugent Hopkins and then Bouchard 3-1. But that was all she wrote because 5 unanswered goals by Dallas in the third period, making Stuart Skinner look like a rookie. Stars score 3 power play goals. There we go. In 5.5 minutes early in the third, rally to beat the Oilers 6-3. Oh well, yep. Well, that explains everything I need to know. That explains everything I need to know. Let's see goalies. Goals against 27, goals allowed 5. So only 22 saves, 81% save rate. Stewie, after playing on his head for the last 2 games, that's a 6-piece. That's a 6-piece right there. That's almost a touchdown, pending the point after. All right, let's now. So that, again, I don't think too crazy. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I can't give like a full, honest reaction and opinion. We'll probably do one of those maybe tomorrow after I watch some highlights and see how the game transpired. But from what I see, like, that looked like how it went. Like, when you score a couple power play goals in 5.5 minutes and just take all the momentum and slam the door shut, you're going to win the game. But again, dude, this is Dallas. This is Edmonton. Like, we watched the Oilers be down in some games, and the star power of Draisaitl and McDavid single-handedly drag them back into the game. So this series, hopefully this series can go the distance. I wouldn't overreact. I'd be less nervous as an Oilers fan with this loss versus the Hurricanes loss. Like, I'd be more panicked as a Hurricanes fan in the manner of which they lost versus Dallas. Because, like, you look at it for the Oilers, okay, they were up 3-1. There was just a terrible 5 minutes at the beginning of the third period, and that is it. Like, that determined the whole game. But those 5 minutes aren't going to determine the whole series. But with the manner in which the Hurricanes lost, where Panthers got your number. I think even, if I'm not mistaken, like, didn't the Oilers went down 2-1 in that series, and then they rattled off the 3 straight wins in a row to move to the Stanley Cup Finals. So, I mean, if we're trying to look at the big picture here, Oilers got the Stars right where they want them, and they'll fight back. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's see what Draisaitl did. Draisaitl had a goal and 2 assists tonight. McDavid, no goals but 2 assists, so pretty okay day at the office, not the best. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL, because oh baby, I've been itching to talk about this one. First, let's talk about longtime Colts owner Jim Irsay and CEO Jim Irsay passes away at 65. My thoughts go out to him. I remember the last time I talked about Jim Irsay was over the JT contract dispute back in 2023. There was a lot of stuff and reports coming out, but I'm not going to say anything until reports are confirmed true, because I don't want to be out here just throwing blasphemy to the screen. What else? I think I don't know if he was in favor of the tush push. Like, I think he was one of the guys that were the proponents to try to push towards having it stay. which is a perfect segue to talk about, not to, discredit, but like, they're going to, the tush push is going to live on. And that's what I've been itching and waiting to talk about all stinking day, is that after much consideration and according to reports, a heated debate as tempers flared in Florida, because it's like, oh goodness, we're all here on vacation, but tempers are flaring. The tush push lives on. And I thought it was very funny that the Eagles took, they pulled no punches and they didn't waste any time to jump to social media. They posted, I think, a 40-minute clip of all the tush push highlights and stuff from Super Bowls, playing the Packers, the Lions, and stuff. And they just said, you know what, hold my tush push, because we're just going to keep running. And I don't know if this is true. It was a meme that you needed 24 votes to ban it, and they ended 2 shy. And the score of like the votes in favor and against was exactly what the score was for the divisional round against the Packers when the Eagles won. And so, considering that the Packers were strongly in favor of banning the tush push, and the votes ended up being what the divisional round game score was, I think that's funny. And I think that's a funny, full circle moment. I think it's good that they're letting the tush push keep going, because it's a play. It's seriously a play. Like, it raises your adrenaline. It's a play you want to watch. A lot of games through the history of just football in general, whether it's college, whether it's the NFL. Like, does anybody remember when Notre Dame beat Stanford on the goal line? Like, goal line plays, there's specific packages, there's specific plays. Philly, the first time the Eagles won the Super Bowl came from a goal line play. So just, I find it funny that they're keeping it around, which good. I'll probably give I'll probably make a video and give like my honest takes probably later at a later time. But like now, as they officially try. What did the article say? Let me read the article here real quick. Breaking: tush push falls 2 votes shy of being banned. Will remain a legal play. So it didn't give the final score, but just like the fact that like that news broke, and then just everybody in the sports landscape was just blown up, giving their reaction, trolling the Packers, and making memes about it. Like it shows that like the tush push is here to stay, and like the people want it. And I think, hell, let me see if let me pull up some team names here, because I did see a meme. Let's see if I think they have. I could be wrong. I think it showed the teams that were for and were against. Nope. It's one of my NFL meme pages. Hello, where are you? Oh, here we go. Okay. Against the ban, for the ban. Okay. So, against the ban: Eagles, Browns, Titans, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Ravens, Jaguars, Lions, and Jets. For the ban: Chiefs, shocker, I wonder why. Packers, shocker, I wonder why. Rams, Bengals, Giants, Washington, Steelers, Raiders, Falcons, Colts, Bucks, okay, and everybody else. Look, I think, the 10 teams who voted against should hold their ground. They seriously should. It's a routine play. And good on... Okay, now this, honestly speaking, this could be totally false. Like we're looking, oh, the Giants were for the ban, and maybe actually reported they weren't or something. Like I think it's a routine football play, and I've been saying that all week. And so to ban the play, but also punish the Eagles for just being so good at football that we got to find a way to. It's just silly. It's silly. So glad the tush push is staying. Glad all the teams that are like, no, it's too. Learn how to stop it. Just learn how to stop it. If they studied enough film and found a way for it to be successful, do as much time and research, study, and find a way to stop it. Seriously, you have enough draft picks. Go draft guys purposely. Bring guys off practice squad. Bring veterans in. Make specific packages, because you go down to a 53-man roster or something. 3 of those 53 guys, or maybe just 2, but like purposely use guys in the sense of, okay, we're playing the Eagles this week. Let's prepare a package here where, okay, let's call it donut, for example. Big guys like donuts. But like, okay, donut package. And like, okay, Vita Vea, we're going to have you up on the nose. Or, okay, Chris Jones, you're in that 3 technique. And then just, like, I don't know. Like, seriously, I really don't know. And I think it's funny how, like, oh, we can't stop it, so we got to get rid of it. No, find a way to stop it. Hell, even the Chiefs, complaining about, the tush push and stuff. It's like, you found ways to stop Saquon Barkley in the Super Bowl. Like, Barkley didn't have his best game in the Super Bowl. You found ways to stop that. Now find ways to stop Jalen Hurts from running the ball. So now I can think. I'm thinking of some other stuff that I want to say, but I'm not going to say it here. I'll save it for another time. But yeah, it's going to be a hot button. I can tell it's probably going to be a hot button all season. So you know what? Good on the Eagles. Good on the Eagles for bringing light to silly situations like this, where it's like, oh, we need to ban this play. No, we don't. And you know what we also need to do? We need to bring kickoffs back. We need to bring hurdling back. We need to bring back we just need to bring back hitting. Make the NFL the NFL again. But that's my thoughts on that. Let's see. Is there anything else in the world of sports? Oh, I did see this. Okay, let me read it on the tush push debate as tempers flare. It shows Jeremy Fowler reports on how the Eagles and former center Jason Kelce might have helped sway teams into not banning the tush push. Well, who is in the meeting? Who the hell is Oh, so Jason Kelce was in the room. An hour had passed, and San Francisco 49ers owner Jed York then asked Lurie how much more shit needs to be said. There were a few scattered laughs, but the room went quiet and tense. Goodell then adjourned to the privilege session. The ban failed by a vote of 22-10, falling 2 votes shy of the 24 needed to ban. It's because the final score, yes, Eagles versus Packers was 22-10. And you know what? It just, table that shit and come back better. Seriously, like, again, this is going to be pretty controversial, and this isn't going to be highly regarded. Executives in suits shouldn't be dictating plays on the field. Football in its purest form needs to be decided by the players who are wearing the pads and the helmets. Like, if you don't want to get hurt, get off the field. Seriously. Like, you're telling me of all 11 guys that are getting ready, you're telling me Jalen Hurts doesn't want to get that first down? You're telling me Jason Kelce doesn't want to make contact? Or if we even look at the defensive side, because the thumbnail when NFL Memes IG posted it, it was an aerial shot of Bolton and Hurts running into each other. You don't think Bolton wants to hit Hurts? Like, it's a football play. And it's one of those things where it's like, leave the refs out of it, leave the owners out of it, leave the GMs out of it. Let the players decide. Hell, you want to make a meeting? Here's how we make some serious improvement and serious dedication to this. You get it down to, it's not going to happen now because they've tabled it, but you poll every single player aside from all 32 teams and you say, should we ban the tush push? Yes or no? Don't leave it up to the 32 owners to decide. Leave it up to the players to decide, because that's what the hell is the NFLPA for if we're not leaving it up to the NFL players? See what I mean? Like, I think you'd have a better gauge to go, okay, well, we got 22 to 10 in voting, but then if like they leave it up to the how many players? Shit. Okay, let's do some simple math here. Let's do 53 times 32 equals 1,600 plus players. So let's round that up, 1,700. If they go into 1,700 and they realize, holy shit, only 300 players want to ban it, but like 1,400 players want the play to still stay here. It's like, that speaks so much louder than 22 owners being like, no, we don't want this. Have you tried it yet? Maybe your offense should try it. And then you'll realize, holy shit, we got one of the best offensive lines in, the league. We got one of the best centers, two of the best guards, one of the strongest quarterbacks. Hell, we could be pretty successful with Jared Goff doing this. We could be, because I'm looking at it from this point of view. Let's look at some of the quarterbacks that are coming in from this draft class. Will Howard's a big son of a bitch. Dude is 6'5", 230 pounds. I wouldn't say Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's probably 20 pounds lighter and a little shorter. Who's another big quarterback? Milrow's pretty big. Who's another big quarterback? Josh Allen. Josh Allen's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". Joe Burrow is smaller. Lamar, I joked about it yesterday. Lamar would just pop out to the outside and get a touchdown anyway. And one of the coaches said, like, if we're going to ban the tush push, we should also ban Lamar running because it's just so silly. I think that was Venables. But, yeah, like, the only reason why it has become a problem is because the Eagles have been able to master it. That's why. Simply put, that is why. Because Kelce was so damn good. And he got lower than his guy, which was able to push that, like, because yes, you throw the guards in, you throw the tackles in. Hello, as I'm knocking over. Hello. As I'm knocking over my lamp. You throw the tackles in, you throw the tight ends in, you stack everybody up in the box. At the end of the day, what this play comes down to is, can the center fire off the ball quicker than the nose tackle and just push him back? Because the quarterback's just going to follow him. So it's a routine play. It's a routine play. So I'm glad it's staying. Yeah, I'm lingered on it a little longer, and then I gave some of my more honest takes, which is, dude, if you don't want the play, just get the fuck off the field, because there are plenty of other guys on that 53-man roster that will go get in a 4-point stance and try to stop it. If you're a defensive coordinator, find a way to stop it. It's that simple. We're getting mad and pissed at the Eagles because, they figured out a way to master it, when, you know what? It probably took a lot of time and attention, probably took a lot of time practicing it in the OTAs, took a lot of meetings, took a lot of film study, definitely a lot of weight training. Like, this is definitely stuff you practice in the off season when you're lifting, doing squats and stuff. Like, the birth and the idea, the brainchild of the tush push didn't just come overnight. Like, I think Kelsey probably did his homework, and he's like, holy shit, my quarterback can squat 600 pounds. Let's see what would happen if I put my hand in the dirt while I'm snapping the ball, and I just so happen to, I'll use Vita Vea. I keep using Vita Vea. But what would happen if I tee off Vita Vea to the left about 2-3 inches, and Hurts just jumps over my back to try to get a first down? Wouldn't you know, the tush push was then born. So I want to look back. I think I want to figure out which was the first time the tush push. I know it came in 2022, the year that Eagles had that hell of a run all the way to the Super Bowl where they came up just short against the Chiefs, which I have my own thoughts on that, but we'll not get into that. But yeah, if you're against it, just find a way to stop it. Like seriously, it's that simple. So I'm glad they're keeping it around. Again, suits should have no say. They really shouldn't. What else is going on in the NFL world? I think we talked about the Olympics. Which rookies will make the biggest 2025 impact? Clay projects first-year leaders in 10 statistical areas. Well, I don't think... considering all the teams that have a rookie quarterback, I don't think Jackson Dart's seen the field till halfway through the season anyway. Like, I think Wilson and Jameis Winston are going to play. I think Cam Ward's going to see the field. Let's go just to draft. Let's just go look at the draft. Let's see the quarterbacks that were drafted. School, let's do QB. Yes, please. Let's do position. QB. Yeah, I think Cam Ward's going to see the field after like week 3. I don't think he's going to get thrown out there week 1 against the Broncos. Like, I really think, and this sounds so bad because it's like, we're going to prove that Will Levis isn't the guy. It's going to be a make or break game for Will Levis. But like, you throw Will Levis out there against the Broncos, he's probably not going to do too good because the Broncos defense did get better. And so you don't have Cam Ward's first game be against a top 5, top 10 NFL defense. You weighed on it a little bit. So Cam Ward probably makes a start in week 3, week 4. Jackson Dart, probably not till halfway through the season. Tyler Shuck, probably day 1. I think Tyler Shuck, because you got Hayner or Spencer Rattler. I think he can beat both. And I think Cam Ward can definitely beat out Will Levis, but it's like, let's just give him some time. Jalen Milroe, I mean, if the Seahawks are playing terrible, then yeah, Sam Darnold's going to get benched. And I could see Milroe making a start by November. Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Again, if Pickett or Flacco is injured, they'll probably make some starts because it's going to be interesting what happens there. But I wouldn't, like, this is, remember the last time the Browns had Joe Flacco? They made a playoff push. So I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if neither of them see the field this year with a healthy Joe Flacco. Wouldn't be surprised. And so then you'd have to figure out, okay, are they going to see the field in year 2? And then the cycle starts again. Kyle McCord, I don't think Kyle McCord's going to see the field unless there's an injury, knock on wood. Just because Hurts is there. Will Howard, I don't think Will Howard's going to see the field. I'll put it this way. If the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers, which allegedly there's reports that Rodgers is going to make a decision this year. Not this, yeah, it should be this year. Holy hell, he's taking forever. But this week, I was like, oh, okay, that's funny. But, because it was like he's going to make a decision after OTAs, which, oh, okay. But I'm really, if it's just Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, I could see Will Howard making some starts in October, early November. But if Rodgers is there, Will Howard will probably be holding the clipboard all year. Again, that's not a problem. That's just, I'm looking at the reality point of view. Riley Leonard. I think Riley Leonard will probably see the field again, maybe halfway through October. If they're like, okay, Anthony Richardson, not the guy. We drafted him so high, he's not the guy. Or an injury, because he has been dealing with injuries in the past, if you look at his career from a whole standpoint. So Leonard will probably still see the field. Graham Mertz, I don't think Graham Mertz is going to see the field just because you got CJ Stroud. Cam Miller, I don't think he'll see the field. I think Geno will go the whole way. Curtis Rourke, not unless Purdy's injured. And then Quinn Ewers, this one's always like a sensitive hot topic. Yes, but you know why he'll see the field, but hopefully he doesn't see the field in that way. Because I think Tua is going to have a good season. Statistically, he usually does have a good season, like Prescott, like Goff. And so, if Quinn Ewers sees the field, we'll know why. And I don't wish that upon anyone. So hopefully everybody can have a healthy season. All right, let's look. So that's my hot take on which rookies will make the biggest impact. It's gonna have to be Jackson Dart or Tyler Shuck, or Milroe. I'll throw Milroe in there too, because Wilson, Winston, we know where they are at in their career. They are, I think the word's predecessor, where you're training the next guy coming in. We saw Pickett get shipped off, so now Kyle McCord and Tanner McKee get to fight over second team reps. If Hurts were to go down. So, that's my thoughts on that. Bills, only team favored in every NFL game this year. I did see that. I still think the Bills are probably going to win 13 games. They'll lose a couple silly ones this season. They always do. I used to live and breathe on okay, this team, dude, they're definitely going undefeated, or they're definitely winning. There's always one or two games within the season where they just hiccup, and it's whoops, we lost that game. We weren't. Let me look. NFL. Let's go to the Bills season. Full schedule. Here we go. Baltimore, Jets, Miami. For example, here, week 4. It's whoops, we lost at home to the Saints at 10 a.m. We were favored. We were supposed to win this game. Everybody and their dog knew that we were going to win this game when tailgating started at 6 a.m. But whoops, we found a way to lose it. Or Sunday, October 26th at Carolina after a bye week, where it's okay, we just got embarrassed by the Panthers, and now we got to turn around, refocus, because we're welcoming the Chiefs. So, yeah, one of those games will be a silly whoops, didn't mean to lose that one. 17 games, it'd be easy. Yeah, probably 12, 13 wins. I think 12, 13 wins. Ravens probably have 13, 14 wins. And then Chiefs probably 15, 14 wins. That's where I'd say. I think the Lions are going to have the best overall record. I really do. I think the Lions could put a 1-2 loss season together. And one will probably be to the Packers, and then the other loss. Hell, let's just look at their schedule. Ravens. They'll probably lose to Green Bay, so there's one loss. And then I could see their second loss being against Philadelphia in Week 11, or first loss against Baltimore in Week 3, and then they lose to the Packers again in Week 13. But then they beat Dallas, Rams, Steelers, Minnesota, and Chicago to close out the season. Scott Van Pelt's Scott Van Pelt pays tribute to the late Jim Irsay. Yeah, it would have been cool. I I want to revisit the thoughts on Jim Irsay and Peyton Manning, because I don't remember if he was the reason why Peyton Manning left to go to the Broncos. All I know is that they won Super Bowl 41. So he's successful. Love him or hate him, he is successful. Not a lot of owners can say, "Hey, I brought a Super Bowl." Okay, let's see. Let's do one more pass through, and then we'll end the stream, guys. Here, let's go to the comment section. Boston Celtics strong, Pacers in 5. I don't know about that one. I think this series at least goes 10. I really do. I think the Knicks will find a way. Oh, I need more water. My lips are getting a little dry. I think the don't get me wrong. Knicks have their hands full. Knicks have their freaking hands full. I think Knicks find a way to buckle back in, lock it down. Don't blow 17 point leads. Yeah. Don't blow a lead when you're up by over 10 with like 2 minutes to go in the game. But I have a feeling both teams will buckle in, lock it down, and they'll find a way. And they'll find a way. This thing, minimum is going 6. Minimum's going 6. I think we'll leave Madison Square Garden, head towards game 3 tied at 1 apiece, and then we'll go from there. If the Pacers drop one at home, which I think the only game in the playoffs that they've lost up until this point, game 3 against the Cavs, they didn't lose to the Bucks. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for the comment. Now, I will say this could turn into Pacers in 5 if they do exactly what they did to the Cavs. They go up 2-0, and then they just keep running you out of the building. Because I think it was on the Pat McAfee show where they talked about the reason why a lot of teams end up injured against the Pacers is just due to conditioning. Because the Pacers play fast, high tempo, and just with the lack of conditioning that other teams have, yeah, hammies get tight, ankles get a little, weaker because they just run you out of the gym. So, yeah, if the Pacers go up 2-0, lose game 3, and then win game 4, I could see them sneaking game 5 in Madison and moving on in 5. But again, that they got to win game 2, and I don't think they will, just with how this game went. But that's my thoughts on that. Let's check another spot. Let's do one more spot here. Okay, we're good over there. Good over there. All right, guys. I think we'll end the stream here. That's it. Nothing else too crazy. Oh my gosh, I see it again, and now I gotta talk about it again because I forgot freaking again. Because then I started ranting about the NFL and started talking about the tush push. SGA won the MVP, and I think, deservingly so. I think he deserves his flowers for winning. There's been a lot of freaking memes. Like, there's the one play, like, he's splitting the defense, and it's, like, mouth's wide open, like, oh, I'll call the foul. And, like, the caption is, like, nobody's touching him. We've heard the term free throw merchant. I think, yes, to a point, but not as bad of a free throw merchant as James Harden was. So there's one pro. But I think just with how he's been these playoffs, it'd be really hard to give it to the team that you just beat. It'd be really hard to give it to Jokic. Would I have given it to Jokic? No, I would have given it to whoever won that game 7. Like, I'm really leaning back on that and really, leaning into that of, hey, whoever wins this game 7 wins the MVP. Now, I will give more credit. If this came from a regular season point of view, it goes to Jokic. But again, I think we little light drizzle of the playoffs and how they perform in the playoffs, because Jokic has not been better. He has had better games individually, but not overall. He hasn't been better than SGA in these playoffs, so it does make sense that he gets the MVP. But yeah, because the kind of final verdict, if I were to make a video, and yeah, I'll have to make a more professional looking video tomorrow, instead of just like a reaction like this, is if you take SGA off the Thunder, I still think they're getting to the playoffs, and I still think they are a top 4 seeded team. Because you take SGA off the Thunder, still better than the Rockets. Who's the 3 seed? The Lakers. I don't think they're better than the Lakers. Debatable if they're better than the Nuggets. They're not better than the Clippers. But like they're probably a playoff team, but not a play-in team. But then you take Jokic off the Nuggets, they turn into a play-in team. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is most valuable player. Who was the most valuable player for the league? I mean, ratings-wise, it was Luka right after he got traded, but they're not going to give him the MVP for that. Dude doesn't play defense, remember? But I do think if you take Jokic off the Nuggets wouldn't be as good as they are. They wouldn't be in the postseason, so you got to kind of pick. You got to kind of pick and choose. Because if we're looking at the definition of most valuable player, it's like, yeah, that you got to give it to Jokic. But again, you can make the same argument for SGA, because if SGA wasn't on the Thunder, I think they get past the Grizzlies, but they don't get past the Nuggets. No way. I think the Nuggets take care of them in 6. So, all right, people, we're going to end it there. Short side, people on the short side, we got to do a hard out. So be sure to hit that like button. I'll see you in the next stream. Sweet. All right. They're gone. All right. One of these days I'll figure out a way where we can simultaneously end both streams instead of having to do the one. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on today's sports. We should be getting back into regularly scheduled program with videos. I want to make some fun jokes, and I want to poke some fun with the Tush Push video. Definitely going to be doing that tomorrow. What else? Nothing much. Just chilling. Playoffs are going to heat up. They're going to get better, because watch this game 2 against the Panthers and Hurricanes. I do have a feeling where Panthers came in, punched you in the mouth. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I have a feeling that this next one could be a low-scoring game. Not a shutout. I don't think Freddie Anderson pitches a shutout, but maybe he lets 1 by. Maybe he lets 2 by, but Canes probably still win 4-2, 3-2. So some playoff magic of Jarvis putting 1 on the back of the net in OT to swing all momentum back in favor of the Caniacs. I think that could be a huge deal for Carolina as they move to Sunrise, but I wouldn't panic too much. With both the East and the West finals, like these hockey series, they're gonna go a lot farther than the basketball ones, because there's parts of me where it's like, yeah, hell, if the Pacers go up 2-0, series is over, wrap it up, put a bow on it. But Panthers go up 2-0, I think the Hurricanes could crawl back into the series. Because not 2 years ago, barely like 8 months ago, 9-10 months ago, when the Rangers won Game 3 against the Canes, it was Panarin. Panarin had the goal, but wasn't it like super late, like final minutes or OT? So they go up 3-0, but didn't the Canes like climb back into that series and 4-6? Let's double check. Like, all hope seemed lost, as it usually does in those situations. Here, let me move some stuff around here. I got multiple tabs opening. Let's look up Hurricanes versus Rangers 2024. Yep. Rangers win the series 4-2. So they did force a Game 6. And then Game 6, Rangers ended up winning 5-3. So they did. Yeah, and it was an OT. 3-2 in OT. But then they beat the Rangers 4-3. Yep. And then they blew the doors off of the Rangers in Game 5 at home. 4-1. And so, you can't win in New York. Guess we got to drag them back to our place. But then, yes, Chris Kreider. Yes, Kreider had a big game. I kind of remember. Not vividly off the top of my head where it's like, oh, yes, it was left side, glove side. No. But, yeah. Okay, that does kind of make sense. Last playoffs were fun. I think these playoffs are fun too, but fun in a different way of the best teams are winning. Like they really are. Like I got caught up in the nostalgia bug of Ovi's would have no. He was never going to win another one. But yeah. All right, people. We'll end the stream there. Keep this a little under an hour so I don't keep yapping and blabbing. I feel like I've yapped a lot tonight. Be sure to hit that like button, guys. Goes a long way. Thanks for being here. Spend a little part of your day hanging out, listening to me talk sports. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.